What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is not Thursday, Saturday, May 27th, and this Splinkers Off. What's up, man?
Yeah, kind of a cool show today for us as we do a Saturday show. Of course, the big racing on Monday. So our normal Thursday situation was not going to work. It's going to be cool. We're going to do some handicapping of those races at Santa Anita on Monday and one at Churchill. But the big thing is there's racing going on around the country as well. And we'll kind of update you on that as they break from the gate from the Soaring Softly Stakes at Belmont.
Yeah, that's right. Who'd you pick here?
I liked the four. I like the four. I like the 3-4 a little bit to move
Yep.
on in a daily double and a pick three. The favorite is the one who got bet down to even money for Chad Brown. We'll see. 3-4 kind of in first and second here as they turn for home, but things can change quickly on the turf. We know that.
Yeah, with whenever the other Clement scratched, who I thought was going to be
Yeah.
tough. Obviously, I thought the four. I'm with you. I kind of like the four. Four looks like he's in a great position. She's in a
He
great
does, and
position.
the one is under a lot of urging. Now let's see if the one responds a little bit here. The 3-4 kind of dominated the race. It seems like either the 3 or the 4 is getting to the wire first here. It looks like the 4 is going to take over. Hopefully, he's got a little bit of kick, and
Yep.
that'd be a really good way to keep rolling in this pick 5. And now we've hit the pick 3 and the double, so that's good. Very good result there, and a winner as well.
4-3-1. It looks like that, dude. I looked at that one for a while because I thought that one. I like the 4. I like the 3. The 4-3. God, I paid 10-1 that exacta. Dang, and I really like that exacta too. I thought the 4, but I just didn't have enough trust in this race to kind of key on an exacta there. But those were the top two for sure. But in a 5-horse field, it's hard to believe in a 5-horse field you can somehow get 10-1 on an exacta there.
I mean, it was a situation where they grossly overbet the Chad Brown horse that didn't have any numbers to back up the betting, and that was kind of uh, a, a weird situation there where the favorite should not have been the favorite based on the numbers. That doesn't happen very often. Usually, people really bet the numbers, but yeah, Chad Brown horse in that situation. I keep saying Chad Brown horse, Lady Beth, the name of the horse, just really didn't have a number that could beat the 3 or the 4, and then lo and behold. It comes in 4-3-1.
And the 4-3 like ran that way the whole way around. Like it just
Yeah.
they were just better than everybody else. It wasn't even
They
that close.
controlled the
So
race, no doubt.
all right, yeah. So we are we're live. I can probably count on one hand how many times we've actually had a blinkers off on a Saturday. So in all the years we've been doing this, so it's kind of fun to be able to go talk racing. Obviously the reason we're doing this, we waited because Monday, the holiday, Memorial Weekend, Memorial Day on Monday. Big racing going on. We didn't know the cards on Thursday, so we thought let's just wait till Saturday. We know the cards, and it kicks off the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series here in North America. So it's been going on a little bit internationally, but we're kicking off things with the Shoemaker Mile at Santa Anita. I don't know why it surprises me, but it always surprises me whenever this race sneaks up because then it's always that race between the Preakness and the Belmont. So the Triple Crown is sort of fading away. And that's obviously what we've been focusing on for, 5-6 months. And so now it's like, oh shit, here comes the Breeders' Cup. And next thing you know, it's going to be November for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy when this, like I said, when this one pops up, it's like that's right. Breeders' Cup's coming up. Yeah, let's not rush it though. You got Breeders' Cup winning in races for that Belmont card as well, and then after that card, it really gets going big time. So we're kind of in that 2-week in between period, and so it's kind of nice to have a big Memorial Day day of racing. It used to be the Met Mile that would they run on Memorial Day at Belmont, and of course they moved all those big races to have that big super day for Belmont Stakes. And now, though, Santa Anita has done a good job kind of picking it up and saying, okay, we'll take over this Memorial Day card. So I love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. The card at Belmont on Monday is going to be pretty good as well, just not for the big stakes horses, but for the New York breds.
Yeah, a lot of New York bred racing all day on Monday at Belmont Park. But yeah, we have a good racing at Santa Anita. We're going to talk about a race at Churchill Downs on Monday. But we're not going to talk any Triple Crown for the whole show, really, until right now. And as we are kind of in that middle ground, definitely feeling like we're taking a pause here. Definitely feels like we're getting kind of reloaded with these horses pointing to the Belmont Stakes. Forte kind of deciding. Well, he didn't decide, but they decided Forte may run now in the Belmont. He had to work Tapit Trice. I don't know if you saw that work yesterday. I know you're not a work guy, but he looked really good on the track. I'm sitting here thinking we may have a little bit of an opportunity here if you like Tapit Trice, because whenever you thought, well, surely that's going to be the Pletcher horse in the race, and that's probably going to be um, the horse, the favorite. Now Forte joining the likes, you got to think he's going to be bet as a favorite here because it's Forte.
It's interesting. Richard Migliori, they broke down the workouts today between Tapit Trice and Forte, and Migliori said, "Look, I am all over Tapit Trice in this race." He said, "I thought the work was fantastic. He thought he outworked Forte, who obviously was the next day, and he said I didn't have anything wrong with Forte, but I thought
Saw
Tapit
that too.
Trice was just fantastic." So that's from a guy that's seen a few horses work in his lifetime and have been on more than a few. So Migliori really liked that Tapit Trice work. Look, it'll be interesting on Forte. It's going to be tough. Let's not forget he hasn't ran since the Florida Derby, and now you're going to go all the way from there to a mile and a half Belmont. I mean, that's a lot to ask. It's probably not ideal. It was interesting as well on This Is America Day at the races. Migliori and Acacia Courtney, we're talking about, or Acacia Clement now, I guess I should say, we're talking about, she brought it up. She's like, Tapit Trice was so bad in the Kentucky Derby. I'm really leery of him. And the Mig said, look, I know when horses, I know the look of a horse that hates kickback. I'm telling you right now, his biggest problem was he hated the kickback. He said, once that kickback got in his face before that first turn, he quit. He's like, he said the same, and this was very nice to hear because he said the same thing we said. He said he was in a decent spot, and when he got that kickback, he stopped. I don't know if he knows what he's talking about or not. Like I said, it's been a guy who's been around horses for a long time. He said, I'm not worried about him all. It was the kickback at Churchill. He'll be fine for the Belmont. So take that for what you want to take it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime a guy like that, obviously knows a lot more than we do in terms of how a horse looks and acts and things like that. Has been on the horses for a long time. You got to take. I like the Mig too.
Yeah.
He's a solid. I don't know if it's about a solid handicapper sometimes, but he's solid at giving analysis of the horse and how they run, and how they look. Yeah, I just feel like it's kind of like we're all excited for Tapit Trice. Belmont's his race. The Belmont's his race. Everything kind of unfolded. Even though we picked him in the Derby, like we definitely believed that before, like another strong situation or strong possibility is he has trouble in the Derby. We've seen it before. Mo Donegal is the most recent example, and then comes back and runs really well in the Belmont Stakes. And I think Forte kind of jumping in there when I fully believe this is on. If it was up to Pletcher, we wouldn't be seeing the horse in the race. But because of who owns the horse, they want to run in the Belmont. Of course, won the Belmont last year for Rapoli, and I just think that we're going to have an opportunity here. Whereas maybe he would have been the favorite at like, gosh, I don't know, 2-5, 8-5, 2-1, 5-2. Now you're going to get 3-4-1 on him. Because Forte and not just him. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a race. At least it has a chance of being a hell of a race. Lots of horses pointing to the Belmont Stakes, and I do believe there's enough question marks now, at least seemingly question marks about Tapit Trice because of how bad he looked in the Derby, to where you are going to get a price if you want to play him.
Yep, I think you're going to get a price on whoever you want to play in that race, and I haven't even thought about making that decision yet, but it's definitely going to be the best of the three. You've got 13 horses under consideration as of right now. Say Forte is there, and National Treasure is there, and Tapit Trice is there, and we get 8 other ones that are on the list. Best race we've had yet for the Triple Crown Series, right? So as long as you get those horses that are highly profiled type horses, like I mentioned, and then you just get enough of the rest of them, it's going to be better because we haven't gotten that in the first 2 legs of it. Of course, the Derby was just a total disaster with scratches. And the Preakness really, the scratch as well of First Mission even hurt that race that was already not that great. So the Belmont could be the best of the 3 if we can hold this field together for the first time in this Triple Crown Series.
Well, not to mention, like we had the resurgent or the return of Mr. Bob Baffert last week. Of course, coming back and winning the Preakness, and now he's kind of making his name known in the Triple Crown, and so now he's going to reincarnate, might run the race, as well as your horse there,
Yep.
or National Treasure and Arabian Lion. So, yeah, there's a lot of Baffert potential. Shawty says, "Beware, Natty T." I mean, anytime you have Baffert enter the race like this, you got to. I mean, it's concerning, as far as playing. If you're trying to beat that horse, right? We saw that with National Treasure, a horse that, not exactly you never thought he would win the Preakness, let's say 4 months ago.
Yep.
But when Bob Baffert enters a horse, you got to take that to account. Angel of Empire, Brad Cox, of course, hit show probably as well. I mean, lots of horses in here. If you win this thing, and Red Route One goes longer than he ever gone. Maybe he can finally win a race. Halter been going a mile and a half. Two fills, maybe. I don't know. Like it definitely feels like you're gonna have your pick of the litter. Like whatever you like, there's going to be no issue with the price unless it's Forte. I don't. I'd have a hard time playing Forte if he is bet here, bet hard.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he is bet. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good one, and on a really good day of racing. And again, this is kind of becoming the best day of racing out of the 3 Triple Crown
Yep.
race days, honestly. And Churchill Downs probably doesn't want to hear that, but the Belmont has been just as good as the Derby a lot of these years, but the undercard races have been better, even if the Derby's been a little bit better. So, yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good. And look, having Baffert back, I mean, he wins the Preakness right off the bat when he can come in there and win it. And now he's got 3 potential horses. So we'll see. Maybe he goes 2 out of 3 here in this Triple Crown series.
We'll find out. 2 weeks out here from the Belmont Stakes, and yeah, I agree. I cannot wait for not just this race. It's nice to see a Belmont Stakes that looks decent on paper, but on top of that, the fields for the undercard are usually stacked. And from what we've seen, I mean, the Met Mile might be the race of the year, depending on who it looks like might show up for that thing. Taba being one of them. So yeah, it's definitely it's one of those days of the year. It's I always tell people it's like the Breeders' Cup into the summer, because it definitely feels that way a little bit. The Travers obviously has that feel too. But yeah, it's a huge card. We will have the Belmont Betting Bible out soon, for you guys to go ahead and get pre-purchased, and we'll obviously be playing that in 2 weeks. All right, guys, let's get to it. Today's show, we're going to preview and get picks for Mondays, holiday Mondays, $500,000 Shoemaker Mile at Santa Anita Park. It's the first 2023 Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. When you're an event in North America this year, then we're going to get some rapid fire selections for the remaining graded stakes action at Santa Anita Park and Churchill on Monday. Let's go. Yeah, Ed says when the Belmont added the mile to the Belmont Stakes card. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at the Met Mile the last several years and how that race has been and who's ran in it. It's I mean, it's always been, but I feel like it's even more so. It's like it's a stallion making race for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a big time race, and you get the big filly race, you get the big sprint for the boys, you get the sprint for the girls for 3-year-olds. I'm saying, I mean, it's really been good, and they make it a 3-day event there: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All 3 days have big races, and yep, it's going to be fun. The divisions start to really come together, and then Saratoga Del Mar, and then it's almost Breeders' Cup time.
What I like about it, and not just the Belmont undercard, but also the Travers as well. Like they definitely, I mean, they're really good races. They're really good grade one, so of course they attract really good horses. And a lot of people don't like to play those days sometimes because it's too chalky. Where me, on the other hand, I love playing those days because I feel like you can pound your opinions, and if you're right, you can turn a 8-5 over a 3-1 into big money, or if you play a chalky pick 3, you can still make money, if you play it the right way. So yeah, I particularly love these kind of days, and I'm already looking at hammering some of these races. So
Yep.
all right, what do you say? Let's talk Breeders' Cup. It's hard to believe we're already here. Let's go to Saturday, or I'm sorry, let's go to Monday. Keep thinking like my week has been just it's been so off. I feel like today's like Friday. All right, let's go to Monday. Santa Anita Park. This is race 7 on the card, the Shoemaker Mile Stakes, Grade 1, 500K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile on the turf. Field of 11 shows up for this Breeders' Cup, the first of this year in North America, the Breeders' Cup FanDuel Mile. Winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup World Championships at Santa Anita Park, November 3rd and 4th. So, of course, staying put there at Santa Anita. And dude, it's I don't know about you, but and we'll talk about the Gamely here in a second, which is before this. But these two races for me were I was all over the place. I really it's had a tough to get a feel for this. You're looking at a very wide open field of 11 where the the favorite based on the odds, John had the same thoughts. 7-2 is your favorite on number 2 Hong Kong Harry, but 4-1 on Gold Phoenix, 6-1 on De Jour, 5-1 on Exalted, 8-1 on Salesman. Where are you going? What do you think of this race?
Yeah, I was between three horses here. I debated between three of them. I did go number 11 Salesman on top because I thought we might be able to catch a price here. And if this horse is the goods, we're gonna get a very nice price on him that we probably won't get again. So I did go number 11 Salesman on top. I think the resume is pretty darn good overseas. Mandela gets the horse, which I think is interesting. Ramon Vasquez jumps on. I think that's good. I really like Salesman. So I put him on top. I'm glad to see he's at 11, or excuse me, is at 8-1. Talking about the number 11 Salesman. I also put number 2 Hong Kong Harry in second. I think this is a solid horse who's getting back amongst his friends after really running against tough races the last couple of races away from Southern California. But Hong Kong Harry ran pretty good last time out of Churchill Downs. Said back at home, that's going to help. And then I have number 3 De Jour in third. So I went 11-2-3, hoping we get every bit of that 8-1 price on Salesman. I assumed Hong Kong Harry would be the favorite. That's why I tried to, at least on the win end, go elsewhere.
Yeah, this is yeah. I mean, you I think you kind of laid it out in terms of how wide open this race feels like. Because everyone you mentioned is a horse that I took long consideration with. Um, Gold Phoenix was one that I liked, but I also feel like I want to try to beat him here, especially considering he'll probably be every bit of that 4-1 or lower. Listen, Hong Kong Harry for me is one horse that you want to like. I've been the last couple starts have not been awesome, and I get that it also just feels like the class level is just a tad too much for him at the grade 1 level, and maybe he'll prove me wrong here, but I think you can play against him at 7-2 at least on top. I I went with on top. I went the number 3 De Jour at 6-1. I thought the price was right. In a race that he's one of those horses that it feels like he's gotten better now, but he's also one of those horses that can throw in some stinkers,
Mm-hmm.
So he did that a little bit last time. He went off as a favorite in the American and he just kind of ran in place the whole stretch. Didn't run like he did the race prior in the Kilroy where he got beat by Gold Phoenix, but man, he ran a nice race. He's one of those horses that I do feel like he runs his race most times. In 5 starts at Santa Anita, he's got 2 wins, 2 seconds. At this distance, he's got 6 starts, 2 wins, and 3 seconds. So it's like he's all over the place in terms of he runs well. He's one to me that makes a lot of sense on top. I also really like the 6 Exalted. I think this is a horse at 5-1 that makes a lot of sense. 3 starts on the turf, the last 3 all wins, and all very impressively as well. I talked about De Jour, who ran kind of in place that last time out in the American. This is a horse that won that race. He came off Lasix that time, didn't bother him. He's off Lasix again here. The workouts look good. When Hernandez and P. Urton team up, they're hitting over 50%, which is just wild. So I really think the 6 has got a big shot here. I wouldn't be against playing a 3-5 exacta or 3-6 exacta, as I do think they will be dangerous. And how about the 8? I'm a little bit interested in the 8 Cabo Spirit at 15-1. Ran the Maker's Mile last out. Modern Games up to the mark. Chez Pereira, all in there, all probably better horses, or at least very modern. A couple of them are better horses than what's in here. So if this horse, I would be surprised if this horse could get a piece of it late.
Wouldn't be surprised either. Not a bad horse at all there. Big number. A horse that I'll probably toy with putting in like fourth or fifth. We'll see how deep I end up going here versus the other races. That'll be a decision for tomorrow. But yeah, I do like the 8 a little bit. I've been looking at that horse quite a bit.
What do you? I mean, I remember back in the day. We had when we had that big cash on De Jour and American Turf at Churchill Downs. He kind of had that streak there where he wasn't very good, but then it came back to Bob Baffert, and what wasn't good initially has shown that he's gotten a little better than I think he was. Now, do you think that perhaps what happened last time is he was a little too close to the pace that he wants to be?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. I think this is a horse that has always since that what I want to how do I want to phrase it? Since that uh the continuity got broke of Baffert, right? And then we had to go somewhere else and we're back and
Right.
forth. I feel like the horse was pretty consistent until that kind of volatility happened. And then that's what he's kind of been, right? But I do think last time out for sure, it's like, yeah, that's not really his preferred running style. And I think we'll get back to that a little bit better in this race, especially with Saez jumping aboard. So I think it was a
Yep.
horse that was pretty damn good. Kind of got screwed up having to change. And now we're just kind of trying to get him back to that top form. But if he shows up with his best, I think he's going to be tough in this spot.
Yeah, and it feels like we might get some pace here for them to run into with a few of these horses that like to be forwardly placed, and it feels like he needs to make like that race. He looked in a good spot, but you kind of look at the times. They ran 22 and 46, and he was right there about 2 lengths off of it. He typically he's like 8 lengths off of it. He likes to be further back, make a big run. And the problem is that those haven't been good enough, right, to do it. Like he
Yeah.
runs his race, but he runs second, and that's concerning if you pick him on top. But if I do think he's getting better now with the kind of back to the Baffert, back to kind of where he wants to be running. And so I'd hate to not have him at. Well, I don't know if you're going to get 6-1. That seems kind of nutty, but maybe you get 4-1 on him. I'd hate to not have him because I do think he's good enough to win the race. Now, let me ask you: is there any horse in here that it's a long way? We're a long ways out from the FanDuel Mile, but is there any horses in here that have any interest of you that like not only is this horse could win here, but maybe this horse could be like really good this summer and have a legit shot in the Breeders' Cup?
No, not at all. I think the one horse that'll make you pause with that question is what if Salesman comes over here and he's just kind of a monster compared to our horses. I mean, we've seen that happen before. I don't really view him as that type. I don't think he's going to be just a monster, but he might be one. But the other ones, we know what they are,
Yeah.
right? And we know that they're not going to be good enough unless they really improve to a level that I couldn't really predict them to improve. So no, I don't see anybody coming out of this and winning the Breeders' Cup Mile unless Salesman is just kind of a unique horse compared to these in here. And again, I don't think that's going to be the case, but that'd be the only way.
Yeah, I don't like I think it's more of a situation where I wouldn't be surprised if let's how am I going to put this? Like I don't think that it's a race that you're typically seeing horses come back and win the Breeders' Cup. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. Do I think though, like especially considering it is at Santa Anita this year, I could see where like they run second, third, fourth, somewhere in there. I mean, it wouldn't
Hmm.
be surprising. We saw Smooth Like Straight get second last year, um, or 2 years ago, whenever that was, in the Breeders' Cup
Yep.
Mile, and then won this race prior. So I could see a case where this whoever wins here is not awful in the Breeders' Cup, but even like Raging Bull won this race 3 years ago, whenever that was, and didn't win at the Breeders' Cup. So it's just one of those races that's too early, I think, to kind of have a good feel on like a beast of horse. I would agree with you. that if there is one, because of the unknown factor, it would be your horse, the 11. But past that, it just feels like it. Even if, like for me, even if like Hong Kong Harry wins or Gold Phoenix, it's like, are you really going to trust them at the Breeders' Cup? I mean, unless they turn into absolute monsters, I don't think so.
No, no. I mean, I don't know if Modern Games is coming back over, but even if he's not, there's other horses that are going to come over and tower over this group, and that's not to mention our horses, right? Who probably there's three or four that are a little bit better than these horses. We've seen it. Hong Kong Harry came, over to the Midwest with Churchill Downs and also Keeneland, and it's just like not bad, but not good enough, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Good betting race, hell of a betting race,
Yep.
but maybe not going to have the superstars that could go on to win the Breeders' Cup. So for the pick of the race, Halterman, give me your pick, give me your cold exacta.
Well, I think I'm going to go 11-2. I don't think you have to play it cold though. I think you can box it, but 11-2. That's my top two horses.
All right, I'm gonna go 3-6. Um, I would consider boxing it as well. I would look at this flip it and do the 6-3 as well, because I do think that could go either way. I don't have a super. So I mean, I think that's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about, like, when you don't have like a super strong opinion. Like, you do have an opinion, right? But it's not like, I love playing cold exactas. That's like my favorite thing to do. But it's hard to play a cold exacta in a race of 11 that you don't have like an extremely strong opinion on. So in that case, it makes sense to try to play, whether it be boxing it, whether to play, you look at the wheel pays and say, okay, the 3-6 pays $20, the 6-3 pays $25, and so you can kind of gauge how much you need to bet on each of that kind of combination, or if it's the 2-11 or the 11-2 or whatever. That's the way I think you should do it. Don't get sold on one horse and think that horse has to win. Instead, try to get a little bit creative, because I do think this race could go. I mean, really, dude, if you look at this race, there's probably, I mean, 11 horses. There's probably like 7 or 8 that if they won, you're like, yeah, I'm not that surprised, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
hard to
I
kind of press an opinion in this race, but instead, try to hedge it out a little bit. So I
Yeah.
got the 3 on top du jour. You've got the 11 salesman. Yeah, I think as I've really honed in on the playing the exactas and how I like to play them, that just it's not a. I mean, everyone should know this, but it's not like an exact science. There's not like you have to play this exacta this way every time. It's like
No.
sometimes a box makes sense if you like to, or sometimes like I just laid out, or sometimes it's, today I hit an exacta where I really thought this horse would run second because he runs well but not good enough, and I really like two horses on top, but I couldn't decide which one was going to win. Right? I felt good about the second place horse. I wasn't sure which one would win out of the first two, and so I played 2/1, and it came in. One of the horses didn't run at all. The other one won. And so it's like, to me, you kind of have to be versatile with how you are kind of playing these races.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, you craft your opinions, then you look at the will pays and make sure that you're making a wager that makes sense, right? Like, don't box two horses in an exacta if the exacta is paying $3 each way, right?
Right. Yeah.
If it's paying 15 and 18, go ahead and
Yeah.
box it. It's not gonna hurt you. You gotta make wagers based on the will pays, basically.
Oh, you have to. And even in my case that I just laid out, like if the wheel pays were, but like both of them like 4-1 or something, then to me, I'd rather just press my opinion and be like, listen,
Yes.
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it's paying 4-1. If it's paying 15-1, then like, yeah, like you said, like I can give away a little bit of my profits if I win, right? Because of the high potential payout versus, like you're saying, if it's 3-1, well, first of all, it's hard to even want to play a 3-1 ever, as far as the will pays go. But if you do, just press it, just
Yep.
and you can, and to me, I can live with that. You don't have to bet as much for one, and you're not boxing, you're not playing, $100. You can play $50 or whatever it is. So, yeah, for me, that's the way to do it.
Yep.
All right, let's do some rapid fire, guys. We're going to go to bet down earlier in the card. Then we're going to go after that race in the Hollywood Gold Cup. And then we're going to go to Churchill Downs in the winning colors. All right, time for rapid fire presented by OG Handicappers. What's up, guys? Jerry Welch, RacingDudes.com. Have you ever cashed a huge bet and thought, man, I wish I had a t-shirt to commemorate this victory? Now you do. That's right. Maybe you cashed in on a mutter.
His father was a mutter. His father was a mutter. His mother was a mutter. His mother was a mutter. What did I just say?
Look at that. A mutter. You got that. This is the apparel you've been waiting for. It's finally here. OG Handicappers. That's OGHandicappers.com. This is the face of horse racing apparel. It's not only horse racing. They've got golf. They've got lifestyle, casinos, cigars, betting. You name it, it features all your favorite. Look at that. So you cashed in on the front runner. Horse that went gate to wire. You know what? I need a t-shirt for this. Boom. You've got it. OG Handicappers. OG Handicappers has a vibe for everyone, and they even now have ladies apparel. I'm thinking about getting some ladies apparel for for the Tinder girls. Just bring them over. Here's a shirt for you. All right, OGHandicappers.com. Look at this. Get the exact, maybe cash in on a huge exacta. You know what? I need one. Or maybe you're the favorite of the family. Grade 1 bread. That's it. That's what you need. Follow them on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. Go to their store at OGHandicappers.com. Get yours today. Use promo code DUDES, DUDES, at checkout for a 10% discount. That's OGHandicappers.com. Go get it. Yeah, there you go. I got one on right now. Halterman, our Mariners and Pirates game is not started off well for us.
No, not well at all. But listen, it's early.
It's early. Halterman and I both have the Pirates. They're down 3-0 in the top of the second. So bottom of the second. I don't know what it is, but it's not good. Anyways, let's go earlier in the card at Santa Anita on Monday. Race 5, the Gamely Stakes, Grade 1. Where's $400K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles on the turf. Field of 7 lines up here, and you got 9 to 5 on the 3. Queen Goddess, obviously had gone and won at the Pegasus. Did not run well last out. We were against her that day, so it worked out. But are you committed to landing on her here? She's back home. She's ran well there. Can't she get back in the winner's circle?
I think so. I think she catches a field here that makes a little bit of sense for her to kind of get back into that winner circle, like you mentioned. I didn't get as creative with this one. I did go number 3, Queen Goddess on top. Picked an 8-1 in the Shoemaker, going 9 to 5 here in the game late. I think she's going to be a little too tough for this field. Saez here once again. Via Reggio, that's the horse I put in second. And I think if anybody's going to beat number 3, Queen Goddess, it could be the number 5, Via Reggio. This horse looked pretty darn good last time out. I think will improve. Brendan Walsh bringing this horse to a Grade 1 off that allowance win at Keeneland. So give me the 3 on top. Give me the 5 in second, and we'll see. I may use the 5 in the pick 4, pick 5. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I went into it with a pretty sour taste in my mouth. Like, it wasn't, obviously, like I said, we played against her last out. It worked out. That was a race with in Italian. We didn't, we thought the pace would hurt her. It did. So that race was bad, and so I went into this race thinking I'm going to beat her. I'm going to try to beat her. I'm not even looking at her. And next thing I know, I'm circling the race. I'm like, I like the 5, and then I like the 6, and then I kind of like the 1. And, then I was like, you know what? Like, I can't even I can't even get a horse to beat her. You know what I mean? So ultimately, I was like, you know what? I think I'm overthinking this. She's back home. She's 3 starts. She's got 2 wins and a second at Santa Anita. She likes this distance. I think she's going to be tough. You look at that race, who she was up against, how that, in Italian, obviously ran like a monster. Just we knew it going in, and it turned out that way. It just wasn't her thing. But prior to that, it ran really, really well. Of course, winning the Pegasus was kind of the highlight there. I think even if she runs back to the race before the Pegasus, she'll be the one to beat here. So I think I overthought it a little bit. I'm going with number 3, Queen Goddess as well. I think I, I do think, yeah, Michael, like I wouldn't if the problem was I couldn't find pick a horse that I was confident in, but this is a horse that's probably going to be very singled. And so if you can try to beat her, I'm for it. It's just I couldn't get there with the horse to try to beat her.
Yeah, it's again, you're gonna have to take a shot, in my opinion, with Via Reggio and hope the horse really improves.
All right, let's go a couple races later. Race 8, the Hollywood Gold Cup Stakes, Grade 1. 400K for 3-year-olds and up, going a mile and a quarter. Field of 6, and you've got the Bafferts. The Bafferts dueling 4-5 on Defunded, 8-5 on Country Grammar. Really past that. Senior Buscador, I guess, is the other one, 5-1. That's the only ones that are making any logical sense or have odds that are below 12-1. So 4-5 on Defunded, 8-5 on Country Grammar. One, do you think that's how John, the way John laid that out? Do you think that's an idea of how they're going to be bet? And two, which one are you going with?
I do think that's how they're going to be bet. You look at this from a pace standpoint. Defunded certainly looks to have a pace advantage.
Yeah.
You look at this race from a form in the United States. Defunded seems to have that. You got Country Grammar coming off a bad race in Dubai, and now we're back pretty quick. So I do think Defunded's going to be the favorite. I went with Defunded as well here. I think this horse is going to be pretty tough to beat. I mentioned it in the beginning there. The pace situation really favors Defunded in this spot. I feel like he's coming off a very nice win. He had one race at a mile and a quarter, 2 races back, and got beat by Stiletto Boy and Proxy. 2 horses that honestly in this group right now are pretty good, but only got beat 3/4 of a length, facing a much easier field today, I think, than that race last time out. So give me, or excuse me, 2 races back, I should say, in the Santa Anita handicap. All right, give me Defunded. I think Senior Buscador makes sense in second. I really do. You look at the race last time out for Buscador at Oaklawn. He ran behind those same horses that I'm talking about, and also Last Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
He did get beat 3 lengths, so there's the difference between Defunded and Buscador, probably 3 lengths. But I do think he'll come running. I love that Saez jumps aboard. I think he's the horse to put in second to kind of spice up that exacta. So I went 4-2-1 in this one.
Yeah, you also got to think too, and I mean, obviously, I know you're always trying to win, but at the same time, Saez is going to give this horse every opportunity. Like, I feel like you might get a situation where they're okay with running second with the 2. You know what I mean? So that the horse should have every opportunity to get up. And I don't know, I get it, like Michael says, it's a cold 4-1 exacta. I don't imagine that it's going to pay great. And 2, I hate Country Grammar. I just I get it, and he definitely. I mean, he's just I don't mean it he's a good horse. I never can get him right.
Yeah.
It's just he's a frustrating horse to play because I picked him in Dubai and he was awful. I'm against him, in certain other races, and he wins. I really thought Defunded last out was the best race of his career. Everything kind of went. He was a heavy favorite. He should have won. He did win, but everything went wrong. He missed the break. The tactics for him completely changed, and he came running late, showed a new dimension that day, and I thought ran incredible. So, I like the fact that you have that versatility now a little bit with him. Doesn't necessarily have to be on the lead, but I do think he will kind of inherit the lead here. I'm with you, man. I really wanted to talk myself into picking Senor Buscador. Couldn't get there, obviously, but I don't hate the idea of playing a 4-2 exacta cold. And this might be one of those situations where the exactas, the small field plus the heavy, favorite, you're not going to have a situation that you're going to have great payouts. So this might be where you have to pound those exactas and just hope. If you're Michael and you like the 4-1, pound it. If you like the 4-2, pound it. And obviously any other way, depending on who you like, pound that. But yeah, I'm with you. Defunded. I think this is he's an interesting horse from the older male standpoint. He's exceeded expectations. I think that's safe to say. with what kind of where he was, then kind of like what happened. You and I were big on him in the Pat Day Mile. That was, gosh, what was that, 2021? Had a bad trip. We were on him again in the firm, didn't win. Then you're like, crap, this horse sucks. But the last like year, last 8-10 months, he's been a lot better.
He is just simply gotten better with each start almost. I mean, that's such a cliche, but that's kind of what you could say about him. He was not really a candidate of mine to be some kind of beast or really go long, but here he is. And yeah, I mean, he just keeps getting better. So listen, he's probably the most consistent of these older horses. So I mean, and that's saying something, because this crop is kind of strange right now, these older horses. So he just kind of runs the same every time, and if it's good enough, he wins.
Last 5 starts, he's had 3 wins that were kind of blowout wins, and then the other 2 have been a second to in the Pegasus, where he ran great. Art Collector ran massive that day, and then he finished third, just barely beaten, like you mentioned, that last one, the Santa Anita Handicap to Stiletto Boy and Proxy 2. Pretty damn good horses, I believe, as well. So yeah, he's been a very solid horse, a very consistent horse. Look for him to win on Monday. All right, let's go to the final one here. Let's go to Churchill Downs on Monday, race 8, the Winning Color Stakes, grade 3, 225K. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. Field of 6 shows up here, and we get to see the girl Echo Zulu back at 4-5. Your favorite here. Do you trust her off the long layoff? If not, who are you going with?
Yeah, that is the question. I mean, this is a long layoff for her, and you know, I don't think they would rush her back though. So I do think they've got her ready to run if they've got her entered. So I went with her on top. Kind of the boring pick is to do that here. I've kind of debated on what to do elsewhere when it comes to what's after her. I really like the number 4 Last Leaf to kind of maybe get up and get a piece of this thing. I thought she ran pretty well last time out behind Frank's Rocket. Of course, it's very good at this sprint level right now for the fillies. I'm thinking 5-4, 4-5. We'll see what happens, with the odds of the 5. But I do like Last Leaf. I have her in second. So I went 5-4.
Yeah, dude, like you, that's a really good horse to pick there. And because I do, the more I looked at this race, I thought, especially off the layoff, you got to think that the 5 Echo Zulu will be pretty keen to go. But like 4 out of the 6 horses in this race have speed, and so I'm wondering what, Echo Zulu showed last time out that, when in the Breeders' Cup filly mare, like she ran off of it, and she typically is on the lead, but that day she was decently off of it. I kind of wonder if they might sit off the speed a little bit. The 6 shows speed a lot as well. So it'll be interesting to see if the 5 is speed to speed, or if they do try to kind of rate her just a little bit. I think the 4 is the most logical winner if it's not for the 5, or the 5 doesn't show up, or if the 5 gets burned out. The 4 showed last time out, got beat by Frank's Rocket, is a pretty good horse, but showed that kind of has that off the pace kind of grinding style. Runs well at Churchill Downs, likes this distance. So I do think the 4 makes a lot of sense, either to win, if you don't want to play the 5, or 5-4 cold. 5-4-6 for me is what I would play the cold try. I think the 6 might be a kind of go, and then maybe she fades off a little bit, but holds on for third. But yeah, I do believe I am going to pick Echo Zulu, just because I do think, her class level is far and away above anything in this field. But yeah, I am a little bit concerned about the pace. And she's won for sure. Like, at all the races we talked about, she's definitely, you got to think. Asmussen's got huge, get her back to the Breeders' Cup filly mare sprint.
I would think that's the goal. Yeah, absolutely. And you would think she's got a big shot at it if she can come into it a lot, with like a normal season. She's never really had that normal season. She'll run for 3 or 4 races, and then you don't see her forever. So hopefully this is step one. You got to think he's targeting those Saratoga races, later on in the summer with their, similar to Jackie's Warrior, but the female version of those races.
Well, what's interesting is she had a normal season, and it's almost like they're doing it again a little bit. She had a normal season as a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
and but she didn't start till July, and of course was awesome at the Breeders' Cup. So you might think with what they're doing is okay. We start her later in the year. We start her basically in June, and then hopefully, keep her sound throughout the summer and get her to the Breeders' Cup in one piece. So.
Yep.
Let's hope that happens. She's a solid horse. She's a fun horse to watch. But number 5, Echo Zulu is my pick. Yeah, I remember we were pretty against her. I want to believe last year in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare. She ran really well, especially considering the trip. You kind of thought she'd be on the lead, and she wasn't. And of course, Goodnight Olive won that race, and we know she's a monster. But I thought Echo Zulu ran really well last year, all things considered.
I did too. I thought she was fantastic. Like I said, it's hard to challenge a horse like Goodnight Olive when you don't have that, normal kind of lead up to the Breeders' Cup. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 races. I'm talking about a season that kind of builds to it.
Yeah, I mean, she had. If you guys don't like, her running lines were so weird. Last year she won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Then we didn't see her again till the end of March, where she somehow won over Hidden Connection that day in the Fairground Oaks. Then went straight to the Kentucky Oaks after that. Didn't win, finished 4th. And then we didn't see her again till the Dogwood in September, where she won by 5, and then went straight for the Breeders' Cup. So she essentially all that last year had prep, huge, massive race. Prep, huge, massive race. That was her her 2 separate 2 races. So it's just like you said, she never got any kind of momentum. She never got any kind of like running style going. It was just felt all very behind schedule the whole year.
Yep, because she was.
Oh, that makes sense. What we got here? We got any racing about to go off?
We've got the 9th at Churchill Downs, an allowance for 3-year-olds. But there's nothing really big going on right now. It's such a quiet day for a Saturday. Churchill will have a stakes next, but as right now, pretty quiet.
They're loading here in the 9th at Churchill Downs. Who did you like?
Well, we need the 2 or the 8 to go on here, and a couple of pick 3s. It's been a huge day at Churchill, especially with the early races. Had the pick 5 and some pick 3s and doubles, but late race need the 2-8, or late sequences, I should say, need the 2-8 here to get through to the next.
All right, yeah, I like the 2 here as well. So we'll see. We'll see if we'll call this race so we can see if we can get this thing home.
Well, Churchill been really, really good to us today. So hopefully this could continue. 2-8 would cash a double as well. So we'll see.
We did so well in the Derby at Churchill. Like, imagine, we just carried it forward here.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating. I didn't do anything different today than any other day. So
the break, 2's in the lead. You got 2-1. 8's sitting there 4th on the outside, sitting in a good spot. 2's gonna roll away with this on the front end. Let's see how fast they went, though.
Valley to Peaks needs the 6. 6 is in last, but they seem to be going pretty fast. Valleys to Peaks, so we'll see.
The 6.
Here comes the 8.
20. Yeah, they're moving. 21 and
yep.
There's the 8. The 8 looks 8-2. Come on, run away with this thing. The 2's the 2 has more horse left.
I'd look out for the 3 here. Thought he made a pretty nice move. Oh no, this 2 is just running.
I was gonna say the 2 had something put away. The 8.
Here comes the 8 to try to take another crack. It's not going to be anybody else. It's going to be the 2 or the 8.
Yeah, we got it. We got it one way or another here. So
the 8 would pay about 3 times as much.
Come on, 8.
Oh boy,
this 2 ran monstrous.
Get up there, Saez. Got it. All right, we'll take it.
21-7, 45 flat, 109 they finished, but 45 flat, and that 2. I mean, That 2 ran huge.
Huge race. That's a big. If you're playing the rolling doubles on the Rockets, that's a $200 plus double. Wow, that's big. 5-1 with a 5-1. Let's see. We had it 5 times. Let's see here. Hold on. Yeah, 223.35. That's a big one.
That's great. I mean, that just adds on. It's been a huge day at Churchill. I
Yep.
mean, we said it. It's been it's one of those days. Makes racing. That's what makes what we do fun, but it also makes it really frustrating when you're awful at Churchill on Derby Day, and then you can't miss. Every horse runs exactly like you thought it would today.
Yeah. So, horse trained by Darren Miller, who was born and raised in Verona, Missouri, the town next to us. So, gets Luis Saez aboard. So that's a good sign when a little barn gets a guy like Saez. That the horse is probably pretty decent.
There you go. So, got another church. So you got 11 races on the card. That was race 9. So you got 2 races to go. The stakes race is coming up. Obviously, we have been red hot at Churchill. So make sure you go to racingnews.com. Go check out the Churchill picks for the last couple of races here on Saturday. All right, guys. That's all the time we have. Check us out at racingnews.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing News Premium button at the menu at racingnews.com. Remember that Belmont Betting Bible will be available soon. Probably look for that in the next couple of days. Get that pre-sale going. And, of course, it will all be about June 10th at Belmont Park for Belmont Stakes Day. The entire card will have picks, analysis, the exact bets we're going to play. We had a huge Preakness card, plus like 74, I think, percent ROI. We just absolutely thrashed it. Had a huge $500 exacta that really made the day there as well. So looking to keep that rolling in the Belmont Stakes Day. So keep an eye out for that Belmont Betting Bible. Make sure you go to racingdudes.com, not only on our site, but on our Twitter page at @racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, everything you listen to podcasts, we are on there. Make sure you go check out the Magic Mike Show as well for all their analysis and opinions. Halterman, final thoughts. We got a big weekend or big Monday coming up. And of course, after that, we'll kind of repivot back to the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah, everybody have a very nice weekend. It's nice to have a long weekend. And so everybody be safe, have a good time, and enjoy the racing the next couple of days, and especially on Monday. Monday's going to be like a Saturday for us. So going to be a big day. So everybody have a good time this weekend. And like I said, one more week, and then it's Belmont Stakes week. And we got a lot going on. We're going to be very, very busy the next couple of weeks.
Well, Shotty, listen, I'm disappointed you weren't here for the show, and I'm gonna need a full write up from you after you listen to it. So make sure you actually did listen to it. So give me the notes, and we'll talk about it afterwards if we can still call you a fan or not. And everybody have a good Memorial weekend, dude. I'm glad you're sitting down. You might be surprised. I played 9 holes of golf last night.
Wow.
I know, right? I got out there. I might go play again.
Wow. That's nice.
I was -1 through 6 holes. I hadn't played since October. And I was like, holy shit. And then the wheels kind of fell off. It got dark. So I was like, I don't count the last couple of holes, but
Where'd you go?
Out of Millwood.
Okay.
So played by myself, and had the old beer cart lady hooked me up with some beers, and just kind of jammed out to some music and played golf. It was fun.
That does sound like fun. Yeah.
I know. You got to join me next time.
I think I might. Yes.
It was.
That does sound good.
It was. It felt like I was like, it's so hard for us to go out and enjoy, real life things.
Yes.
Everybody, everyone, all our friends are at a lake or something right now, and we're at home watching racing and talking to you guys. So it's like. If I get an opportunity to be like, hey, I'm gonna go, I don't have to mow the yard. I don't have to do I'm gonna go play golf. And so let's go do it. We could do a live stream at the golf course sometime.
I mean, Congratulations on being normal.
Yeah, my shoulder hurts a little bit though today, so
Right.
probably have to ice that tonight. So
Yes.
it's age is caught up to me.
Yes.
So you're getting old when you do simple things and like you're sore for 3 days. So
Yeah. Yeah.
welcome to being old. You're turning 40 here pretty soon, so you know all about that.
That's right. Let's see. June, July, August, September, October. I got 6 months. I got six
Six
months of
months
life
left of
left.
your 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shotty. It's what I've noticed with me, how it works for me is like when I have my boys, because it's like because we have like we share them 50-50, and so when they're here, it's just full on. I mean, we go, it's like 1000% on, as anyone with little kids knows. And they're two little boys, and they're full on boys, and so it's like my body doesn't feel anything for those days when they're with me. You're just you could be tired, you could be sore, it doesn't matter. You're in survival. Then when they leave, it's like you just go down and you just like kind of melt over, and then your whole body feels it. You're sore, your back hurts, your neck hurts. You're like, shit, man. Like I just feel like I was in a car wreck. Like, no, you just had 3
Just
days with
children.
them. So yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a little bit. Kids age, yeah. Dad bod and the gray, man. If you can't, it's hard to see. You can probably see a little bit, but man, since I've had kids, I've turned like 5% to like 28% gray. So at least my hair is still here. It's not going away. Yeah, super dad.
That's
I feel like
yes.
super dad sometimes, but you gotta be. But update, by the way, this blinkers off. I don't want to spoil. I mean, let's just say we might have a trim going on for the next blinkers off. So
Oh, there you go.
gonna have to come up with a new bet. But it's getting long and it's hot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna cut it completely, but it will be trimmed.
Yeah. I mean, with the heat, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and it's just when it's hot and you're outside and you're like got like grass clippings in it and whatever you're mowing the yard, you're like, this is a little much. So
Yeah.
dial it back. I'm not in the biker gang or anything, you know what I mean?
No.
So I can't. And let's be honest, I'm not ever going to be or look like that. So
No.
let's just. I see. I don't want to wait though. I don't. Tapit Trice loses, beard goes. I don't want to wait 2 weeks though. I'm ready for. We can do something if he wins. I will. I'll shave it complete. I'll like Halterman shave it. So
There
not
you go.
let Halterman shave it, but it'll look like Halterman.
Right.
A clean shave.
I like it.
So
I
there
like
you go.
it.
Or I could do if he wins or loses, I could just keep a stash. I could have to rock a stash. So the boys don't want me to shave, so it was just funny because they're like full on board with it. So I'm not gonna tell them. I'm just gonna show up one day and be like, "Remember me?"
You just tell them, hey, it's my life. Piss on you.
Well, I would say quit running my life, but they do. So, all right, guys, I'm Jared Welch. He's not the stash. I don't want to get police called on me.
No.
He's Aaron Halterman. Again, make sure you guys, the racing's just getting going for tomorrow as well. And then, of course, Monday, the big racing action with the Shoemaker. So make sure you stay tuned, get all our picks at racingdudes.com. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next time.